Salutations to all our future judges. In this video, we are going to see how to identify the time limit for filing a case. This has been very specifically mentioned in Limitation Act schedule. The schedule is very crucial and important, hence I am putting this as a separate video. To reduce the length of the video, I have split the video in 3 parts. Now you are going to see the first part. And please ensure that you don't skip the video because I given some tips for attending the judicial exams in between and some tips for your professional practice as well. Hence, please don't skip the video. Watch the video till the end so that you get the full benefit of watching this video. Now, the entire schedule itself has been classified as 3 divisions. But before even venturing into this, it is very essential to know as to why anyone should know about this Limitation Act. If you are a general public and if you want to file a case, you need to know as to within what time you should file a case. It is very important. And if you are a person in professional practice, you might have to answer your client as to when a case can be filed. Whether there is any limitation or it is barred by limitation, you need to know this and it is very compulsory. And the next thing is, in many judicial exams, questions have been asked from this schedule. Many times they have asked. So it is very essential that those who are preparing for the judicial exams or for any professional course or any competitive exam, they need to know this schedule thoroughly. Now coming back to the classification, it has been classified as 3 divisions. First division deals with suits, which is from part 1 to part 10, and the second one deals with appeals, and the third one deals with applications, part 1 to part 2. Already I have given a video on Limitation Act. Those who have not seen that video, please do go and see that video. I given the link in the iCard as well as in the description. Once you see that video and come back to this schedule, it will be easy for you to correlate. Now, coming to the schedule, which specifies the period of limitation. So, this schedule speaks about section 2J and 3. This schedule is connected to those 2 sections. The first division is pertaining to suits. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 and Part 4 all are suits relating to accounts, contracts, declarations, degrees and instruments. And in all these 4 parts, the limitation period is 3 years. And in all these 4 cases, the cause of action is very crucial. You need to count these 3 years from the cause of action. Now, coming to the next part, which is part 5. And this relates to suits which are pertaining to immovable property. And in the first part, we see mortgage of immovable properties. So, if a person has to redeem a mortgage, within 30 years he has to do this. So, when the 30 years starts is when the right to redeem or recover the possession accrues. When he gets the right to get back his property, from that day 30 years we need to count. And when you have to recover the possession, if the mortgagee has sold your property to somebody else for a valuable consideration, then within 12 years when you came to know about the transfer. Next is, if imagine the mortgagee has taken more money from you, he has taken surplus money from you, then you need to recover that surplus money, for which you need to file a case or a suit. So that you need to file within 3 years when you re-enter the mortgage property. That is, the 3 years starts when you re-enter into the mortgage property. And to enforce payment of money secured by mortgage, for example, we have mortgaged a property and we are bound to pay the money and redeem the mortgage. So, in that case, the person who has received the mortgage or the mortgagee he can ask you to pay the money by filing a case, and that he can do within 12 years from the date the money becomes due. Next one is by a mortgagee. Imagine a mortgagee wants to make a foreclosure. Then he can do it within 30 years when the money becomes due. This 30 years should be counted from the date the money becomes due. And if he wants possession of the immovable property, that is mortgagee wants to get the possession of the mortgaged property. So for this, if he wants to file a case, he has to file that case within 12 years. And that too, when the mortgagee becomes entitled to the possession. That is very important. 64 to 67 deals with all other suits relating to immovable property, and in all these cases the limitation is 12 years, and this 12 years will start from the date when the cause of action arises. Next is part 6, which are suits relating to movable property. For a specific movable property which is lost or acquired by theft or dishonest misappropriation or conversion, in these cases, if somebody has to file a case, they have to file within 3 years, when the person having the right to possession of the property first learns in whose possession it is. I come to know that it is in possession of some person who doesn't have the right to have it, or was acquired it by theft. Then from the day I come to know that, the limitation starts. And for other specific movable property, it will be 3 years when the property is wrongfully taken. And to recover movable property deposited or pawned from a depository or pawnee, when you are pawning to somebody or when you are pledging it to somebody, then from the date of refusal after demand, you are asking that property to be given back to you, but he is refusing to give it to you. Then from the day he refuses, the 3 years time limit starts. Under 71, if a property which is pawned is sold by a pawnee to some other person for a valuable consideration, and if you need to recover that movable property, you need to file a case within 3 years. And that 3 years starts when you come to know that a sale has been effected. Part 7 speaks about suits relating to tort. And in cases where enactment says that you are not supposed to do something and you do it, and where enactment says that you are supposed to do something and you don't do it, in both these cases, you are supposed to pay compensation. And that compensation can be claimed against you within 1 year when the act or omission takes place. And in case of false imprisonment, within 1 year when the imprisonment ends, compensation can be claimed. And in case of malicious prosecution, compensation can still be claimed within 1 year when the plaintiff is acquitted or the prosecution is otherwise terminated. And in case of libel or slander, when the libel is published or when the words spoken, if the words are not actionable in themselves, when the special damage complaint of results. So whenever you speak something bad about somebody, it is called slander. And whenever you speak, the 1 year starts from that period. And libel is something put in writing, defaming somebody. So the time period starts when you publish it. And compensation for loss of service, in case if some person induces by way of seduction or seduces the plaintiff's servant or daughter to gain some benefit or to make a loss of service to the plaintiff, in that case 1 year limitation period starts when the loss occurs. And the next one is 78. If somebody is inducing a person to break a contract with the plaintiff, when that happens, the limitation period for filing a suit for compensation starts from the date of breach, and the period is 1 year. Next, compensation for an illegal, irregular or excessive distress can be claimed, and case has to be filed within 1 year from the date of distress. And for wrongful seizure of movable property under legal process, from the date of seizure within 1 year, the case is to be filed for compensation. And in case of executors, administrators or representatives who want to file a case under the Legal Representative Suits Act, they have to file within 1 year within the death of the person who has been wronged. And in case of Indian Fatal Accidents Act 1855, by executors, administrators or representatives, they have to file the case within 2 years of death of the person who got killed. And in case of the persons who want to file a case against an executor or an administrator or any other representative under the Legal Representative Suits Act, he has to file the case within 2 years of the wrong complaint of is done. And in case a person who is having a right to use a property for a specific purpose uses it for some other purpose, then if a case is to be filed against him, then it needs to be done within 2 years when that wrong use is employed or when the perversion is happening. And the person injured can file a case within 2 years of such instance. If a suit is filed for compensation for obstructing a way or a water course, then suit needs to be filed within 3 years from the date of obstruction. And if a suit is filed for compensation for diverting a water course, then within 3 years of such a diversion, case is to be filed. And in case of trespass upon immovable property, compensation can be claimed within 3 years from the date of trespass. And in case of compensation for infringing copyright or any other exclusive privilege, then case can be filed within 3 years from the date of infringement. And to restrain waste, when the waste begins, 3 years within the time when the waste begins, suit is to be filed for restraining the waste. Then comes injury caused by an injunction wrongfully obtained. If compensation is to be claimed or a suit is to be filed for compensation, in this case, it needs to be filed within 3 years when the injunction ceases. And in case of compensation for wrongfully taking or detaining any specific movable property which is lost or acquired by theft or dishonest misappropriation or conversion, in all these cases, when the person is having a right to the portion of the property, first learns in whose portion it is. The day when a person comes to know as to whose portion the property is, from that time the 3 years limitation period starts. And if somebody is injuring the movable property or wrongfully detaining it, wrongfully taking it, then in that case, when the detainer's possession becomes unlawful, from that day onwards, the 3 years limitation period starts. And now it is part 8, suits relating to trust and trust related property. To recover a portion of immovable property which is conveyed or bequeathed in a trust and afterwards transferred by the trustee for a valuable consideration. Now the property is given to the trust and the trustee sells it to some other person, some third party, for a valuable consideration. In that case, if you need to recover the property, then you need to file the case within 12 years when you come to know of the transfer. And in case of movable property, it is 3 years when you come to know of the transfer. And in case of Hindu, Muslim or Buddhist religious or charitable endowment trust, if a manager transfers the property for a valuable consideration, in that case, you need to file a case within 12 years when you come to know that a property has been transferred. In case of immovable property, and in case of movable property, it is 3 years within the date of transfer. And section 96 says, if a previous manager has sold a property for a valuable consideration, trust property for a valuable consideration, in that case, the current manager or the present manager can file a case against the previous manager to recover the portion. And he needs to file the case within 12 years of the death of the previous manager or his resignation or removal or from his appointment, that is the appointment of the plaintiff as manager of the endowment. Whichever is later, among these two aspects, whichever is later, from that period onwards, the 12 years will be counted as limitation. If you like the video, please do subscribe the channel by pressing the red color subscribe button and select all so that whatever video I put in this channel, it comes to you and gets notified. Do share the video and help those who are in need of it. If you like the video, do press the thumbs up button. Your comments are most welcome. If you feel like I have left something in this video or if you want me to put a video on some other subject, please do let me know in the comment. Let us join hands together and contribute for a learned society. Thank you.